Awesome. Well, I'm so excited to have today on the podcast Liz Plosser, who is one of the queens of pull-ups now, I feel like. So I would love for you to introduce yourself, and then we're going to dive right into how pull-ups can really transform your life.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me, Angela. I love you so much. And this is so fun for me that we get to hang out together this morning. My name is Liz Plosser. I am the editor-in-chief of Women's Health. I just celebrated 4 years with the brand and they've been amazing. And I live in Brooklyn with my 3 kids, my dog, and my awesome husband. And yeah, just trying to live my healthiest, happiest day every day like the rest of you.
Yeah. And one of the things I love about Liz is she's very much like me. She has a book called Own Your Morning, and it really is, she really owns her morning. Like, she gets up, she always gets her workout in. That is like her time for her to do something for herself. So I feel like something like about, when we'll get into when we were learning about pull-ups, we were always doing it in the morning, and it really was coming in, doing something for yourself to really own that entire, it will help you own the entire day. So I think it's pretty awesome. So I want to first go into so we first met, like, I was trying to think about the year, was it 2018 or 2019, like years ago, at Performance House, that's based in New York City. And I was teaching a class there for the Women's Health crew. And I don't exactly remember how we got into the conversation, but you were like, I want to learn a pull-up. So what made you at first be like, this is something that I want to try and do?
I know, it's so funny. It's a little bit of a blur because I feel like you've always been in my life. So I can't remember that like crystallizing moment, but I think, yes, we met at some women's health events and I had sort of like a girl trainer crush on you and just wanted to sweat with you and have you take me through some moves. And I knew you were such a badass with pull-ups and with your Ninja Warrior moves. So I knew you were an expert in it. And I think you just made me feel safe to say out loud, like, this is a move that feels crazy hard and impossible. I've thought that since I was a little girl. Like, I never, even in gym class, when you're light and nimble, I couldn't do one. And so it had always been in the back of my mind. And I just felt this like lightning bolt, like, I want to do one, but I don't think I can. And you swiftly were like, yes, you can. We can do this.
Yeah. And I feel like I love what you just said there. I mean, about just feeling like you always kind of thought it was impossible, especially in gym class. I was talking to somebody the other day about, I feel like, especially for females, that's like really where I pushed, like trying to help people, especially in the, like, females always think that they're not strong enough. And I feel like from the beginning, from gym class, we're told we weren't strong enough. Like, do you kind of feel like that way a little bit from the beginning? Like, just people just assuming that the female's not going to be able to do it. So they don't even they're like, don't even try that. Like, instead, just hang on the bar.
That's such a good question. I feel like, with maybe the exception of the pull-up, which kind of just scared me, like going off the ground, even climbing ropes, like when you did the President's Fitness Challenge.
That's exactly what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Race, right. I do know what you mean. And I do think that hopefully, and it is changing. I think because I love sports from a young age, and there was nothing I loved more than like running around, getting sweaty, playing kickball at recess, and diving into whatever, whether it was floor hockey or rolling around on scooters. I just jumped in and often was playing with the boys. I would be the only girl playing kickball a lot of the times, but I didn't even think about it because I was like, this is so fun. This is how I want to spend my recess. And so maybe I powered through some of that invisible but powerful gender stereotyping that can happen when we're young. I truly think for me, the pull-up thing, it scared me.
Yeah, for sure. And again, so I love what you're saying there also about, like, for you were able to hang out with the guys and you felt like, you're just part of it. For a lot of other females, since you were the only one in that group, they were intimidated by it and scared by it. I do 100% think things have changed a lot now. I think things are showing that females, they're embracing the strength now and they want that, which I think is so powerful and so amazing. So when we first started this journey, I told you asked me, like, can I get it in a certain amount of days? Because we were going to like a photo shoot. And I wanted to see if you remembered what I said to you after you said that. You're like, can I get it in this amount of days? Do you kind of remember what
Yeah,
I
I
said?
do. I do. Because as soon as you said I could get it, then my wheels were turning because I'm an editor and I'm always thinking about content and what was coming up. And I knew I had a photo shoot that you were actually going to be at too. We were going to be together. And all of a sudden, I had this connecting of the dots, and I was like, that would be so cool if I could do a pull up for my editor's letter. Like that would, it was an issue about strength, naked strength, if you remember.
Yeah, my mom still gets so mad at that issue, but
Aw, you were
she's like,
so mad at it.
I'm like, Mom, come on.
And when I asked you how long it would take, I believe you guessed because you'd seen me move and work out. I think you thought it would take me about a month. And I was like, well, I have 18 days until our shoot is 18 days from now. And so you're like, okay, let's go.
Yeah. And I think that, so the other thing I said to you, I was like, it's honestly going to depend on like how hard are you willing to work? What time are you willing to put into it? Cause yeah,
You 100% said that.
Yeah, it's 100% possible to get it in that amount of time, but are you willing to show up and put the work in? Cause it's not going to be like something you can just do once a week.
You definitely said that out of the gate. So I had no illusions about what I was getting into. If I did all the drills and really committed to it, and powered through the mental, emotional, physical, all the things, you thought that I had a fighting chance of getting it that quickly.
Absolutely. And I always remind people that all the time because they're always asking how long. And again, everybody is super different. But what was so awesome is that, so you showed up, I think you were doing like 2 or 3 times a week in the morning. Again, you're owning your morning. You had that time you were commuting all the way into the city. It was a whole thing, but really committed and owned her morning and showed up on like, the hard days when you really didn't want to show up. What do you feel like the process was at first? Was it like a roller coaster? Were you feeling like, oh, I'm getting it, it's fine? Or were you having days where you're like, this is like really hard?
Yeah, I mean, you were so awesome to meet me on those early mornings. And you also, as anybody who follows, you have a amazing plan. So I was also drilling a lot on my own and doing mobility work and all the things on my own time. But to answer your question, there were so many days that was so hard and so frustrating. I mean, I'll backtrack and say I'm a big believer in having a goal to get you out of bed, because some mornings you're not going to wake up like, a Disney prince or princess and like sparkles and rainbows. Some days you're really tired and you don't feel like doing it. But if you have a goal that you're working toward, I find that can be incredibly helpful to be that boost you need on those harder days. In terms of the workouts themselves, it's so funny because I have so much footage on my phone from that time, from all time really. But I can like viscerally go back in time and remember how I felt that day. A roller coaster is such a good way to describe it. Sometimes it was a roller coaster, even in the course of one workout, like the high of nailing, shoulder shrugs perfectly and feeling that my back and shoulders and everything was becoming more balanced. And then getting to the point in the workout where we went for a full unassisted pull up and being so disappointed and like, I don't know why I can't do this. I'm doing everything right and I'm strong. And I think that's probably true of a lot of workouts and things in life, that moment to moment, you can go from like a 10 of like amazing, great energy where you feel empowered and strong and confident to like, all of a sudden, whoop, you're like down and you're like, what's going on? This isn't working. What's wrong with me? And you feel like a 3. And then a few minutes, like push through that, because as you know, and as many of my workouts with you showed, a few minutes later, you could be back up to a 10.
Oh, absolutely. And I love just saying that you like, even in one day, I mean, again, this is why, we were chatting about before we even like hopped on to record this, like a pull-up is really translates into life things. It really does. It's like things that you're trying to go towards your goal. Like you said, you're setting a goal. It doesn't have to just be a pull-up. It can be anything. You're going to have the highs and lows, but you have to keep pushing through them if that's something that you really, really want. And it also, I always try to remind people like that makes the journey a little bit more fun. I mean, I know it may not seem like it's fun, but like if you just like got up and just got the pull up like right away, I don't feel like you actually would like learn anything. And it's the same thing with anything in life, right? It'd be easy if we just were able to get to that end goal like in a second, but instead the universe is making us go through a little ride so that we can learn and grow and become stronger and be able to use that in other pieces of our life.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And there's some really cool science and research about this, where when you ask people what is the thing they did in their life or something that made them super happy, a lot of people will bring up fitness challenges like completing a marathon or getting their pull up, or outside of fitness, maybe it's writing a book or having a child or raising kids. And when you're in it, like fighting for it in the day to day, like doing a 15-mile long run for your marathon training, that's not very fun. I mean, maybe there are moments that are fun, but like it's hard. And you're like, why am I doing this? And I wrote Own Your Morning. So I've experienced with that. And like, oh, sometimes it was, again, so frustrating. Like, why did I sign up for this? I could be sleeping right now. I could be doing so many other things. But when we complete that task and we get to the other side, that sense of accomplishment, momentum, like it is physically proven to change your brain chemistry and make you a happier person. And you have to have that fight. Like you're exactly right. If it was easy, it wouldn't have the same payoff for you mentally or emotionally.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So like when you finally came in and you finally were able to get your chin above the bar, which is an amazing thing. Again, awesome. We were just talking about this before, like it's this skill that you're able to accomplish. What did something shift? Like you said, something changes in the brain. Did something shift with you to believe in yourself in other areas? Like was it translating into like, I finally worked really hard. I got this pull up, what just seemed impossible. Like now what? Like, this is amazing. What else can I do?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think one of the great ironies of pull-ups is, although they are such a cool, awesome physical feat and so good for your body, in my mind, they're actually not about the pull-up at all. It is kind of about everything else in your life. And I even have goosebumps saying that, but I really believe that's true. Because you do, when you get above the bar, whether it's your first time or your like thousandth time, once you get into them, you feel so strong, so accomplished, like on top of a mountain, anything is possible. I think, and maybe we'll go into this, it also has a lot to do with how you broke down the move, and how you got there, which is also it has so many parallels to problems we encounter in our life, whether it's being given a new responsibility at work that feels overwhelming and that we're like a fish out of water. This is not the thing we're good at. And I always remember the pull-ups when I have one of those challenges. Like, okay, I can do this. I've done it before. And that's like something nobody can take away from me. So 100% pull-ups are like the ultimate life lesson.
I really feel like it is. It's a life lesson. It's powerful. And again, especially for females, every single time that I've seen, especially again, I work like really make sure that I'm focusing on the female population with this. Cause I feel like, every time I see them finally get above that bar, they realize it. They understand that like what I've been saying from the beginning of like, this is way more than just this. This is way more to pull up. You got your first one and then you were like, what about two? Like, what about three? And then all of a sudden you were like, I'm going to go for 10. And I remember you waking up, pandemic happened, whatever. And then she's outside on her fire escape, this like small fire escape bar. And she's doing the pull-ups like every day. And her goal was like, now I'm going to get 10. Imagine like you went from 0 to like, I'm going to get 1 to then being like, I'm going to go for 10. Like that's absolutely incredible. And you showed up every single day on that bar, and you had some highs and lows during that. So I remember like, again, I put that email out the other day talking about how, you had broken your sacrum, correct? It was.
Yeah. I broke it almost 2 years ago, right before the pandemic, on a ski slope in Colorado, but I still had that goal. And it was like, how am I going to do it? I can't use my like glutes or my core.
So I remember like you coming in for the high and low and then me being like, all right, we obviously can't use a lot of pieces of your body right now. Yeah. That's okay. Like, let's figure out what else we can do. What else we can do to keep ourselves moving? And I feel like, again, even hard times there from the pull up to the injury, I did feel like, even though you went through those highs and lows, do you feel like it helped you create an opportunity to become stronger in a different sense? Having to get through again, now you're injured during this situation, and now what?
Yes. Well, I definitely leaned on you a lot during that time because you had gone through your knee injury. So you knew exactly what I was feeling. And for people like us who love to move, and it's part of our identity and our, like, you know, mental clarity, mental health, all those things. It's so scary to be like, you're not able to move your body like you used to. Yeah, it was hard. It was frustrating. I felt like I needed movement more than ever, especially when the pandemic happened and we were all navigating this really scary time. The upside, and again, it took a minute to get there because it's hard when you're in it, but I reconnected with my body in a way I didn't even know I needed to or thought I could. Like, I am so much more exacting and meticulous with my form now, and so much more in touch with my core. I know when something is achy or tweaky, and I now know to pull back and not power through it. These are all lessons that I didn't think I needed to learn, and I certainly didn't want to learn. But now that I have, I am so much stronger and more balanced as a human and as an athlete because of that setback.
I couldn't agree more. For me, especially when I was injured on my knee, before that I was go, go, go. And like you said, like that was my life. My life literally was, you know, gymnastics, ninja, all that stuff. And then to be like, you can't do anything. And
Yeah.
you're like, I don't understand why this is happening me, why me? And like you said, you
Yeah.
need to sit there and you need to feel it. And it's going to take a while for you to understand any of this. But yeah, I feel like you really do get to know your body a lot more, especially when you realize that like every day, like you can't take anything for granted. You really don't know. And like really making sure that you're really taking care of your body. And like you just were saying, listening to your body, knowing when to say, okay, that's okay that I'm not going to be doing this today, but I can do this, or I can rest or whatever. So I feel like
Yes.
that journey, along with, again, getting your first pull up, then getting your first pull up, wanting to crank out more, then getting injured during that, but still you found time again, even when it was frustrating and it was hard. And I remember those hard days so much. And I remember you coming on and like, or even when you came into right before the pandemic, you actually came in and we did some whatever we could, which was like not a ton, but we did something. And I just remember like seeing that frustration on your face and remembering it. And I was like looking at you, and I was like looking at myself, and I was like, wow, like I remember feeling exactly like this. So I feel like I completely understood what you were going through.
Yeah. I mean, you didn't say it, but I definitely had like tears in my eyes at some point in the workout. Not because I was in pain, because we were definitely being very cautious and safe with my body. But yes, to be in that space and with you when I had felt like in tip-top condition just a few weeks earlier, and to feel like it was all just like ripped out from under me. And now what do I do? I'm starting over. It was emotional.
Yeah. So, and even knowing, I think, having listeners on here hear that as well. It's like, right, you might get to the point where you get your pull up, or you're feeling strong, or you finally are feeling amazing. And then something might come around and kind of try and knock you down again. But again, there's still a lesson in there, and there's a reason why it's happening. And again, you may not understand it while you are in it, but you will understand it later. All you have to do is keep going, keep showing up for yourself, figure out what this lesson is teaching you. So the last thing I wanted to know about your whole, pull-up journey, if you had advice for anybody right now who was trying to get a pull-up, or again, it may not even be just a pull-up, because I want to talk about other things as well, because you've been working on, kettlebells now. There's so many different things that you can work on. What would be your advice to somebody who's just getting started and who is actually feeling like a little like, I don't know, I feel intimidated about any of these things?
Yeah. I love that question so much. So first of all, I would just say, I think it's so awesome and courageous and brave when you decide to take the first step, and like that should be celebrated. That's huge. And like maybe you share it with a friend or your sister, or you put it on social media. Like that takes a lot of guts, and it's a big deal. So like sort of bask in that. Like, I am choosing to start this adventure. Second, I would say to surround yourself with people who support you and believe in you and know what they're talking about. And like for me with pull-ups, that was very much you. You believed in me on the days I didn't. You supported me on the days I wasn't like, 100 emoji energy, as much as you supported me on the days that I was like starry-eyed emoji energy, and you know what you're talking about. And I think, again, you can apply that to so many things in life, but I think that's key. You as a guide, you knew exactly how to get me there. You knew the mechanics of the move, you knew the drills, the mobility, everything that would help me. And that makes a huge difference, because whether it's pull-ups or something else happening in your universe, you don't just get a pull-up by like trying and pulling yourself up over and over again. I honestly thought that's how you got to pull up. Like, left to my own devices, that's what I would have been doing. And I would have given up, because that's not how you get there. I think also when you find somebody who knows what they're talking about and who believes in you, either they become your community and are rooting for you, or they can unlock a bigger community, which, you've created in your virtual spaces and with all of your programming. But that, I have a love-hate with social media, but that's one of the things I love about it, when people root for each other and are cheering each other on and giving productive advice and celebrating one another's accomplishments. Actually, on that note, I do want to give a quick plug for National Workout Buddy Day, which is March 1, which I know is a holiday that's near and dear to you too.
I love National Workout Buddy Day.
It's a women's health created holiday, but I just thought of this, but it very much is the spirit of National Workout Buddy Day. Like, fitness is more fun with friends. It's not necessarily easier, but it can be easier to show up when you have a crew rooting you on, who you know is going to be there at the same time, or who's driven toward the same goal. And gosh, last thing I would say, and something I need to work on in my life, is patience. You asked me a few minutes ago, did something change, or what it was like that day I got in front of above the bar. And like, honestly, I've thought about this so many times. It wasn't like I knew that morning that I was going to get it. It wasn't like something clicked in that workout and I was like, yep, going to go on up. It just happened. And you told me that was going to be the case, but it wasn't like I did something different or drilled harder or less hard. It just, like, my body finally understood how to put all the movements together. My mind mentally understood what the challenge was. Like, all the stars aligned. And that's one of the coolest things about pull-ups and fitness in general. As you said, I've been working on my Turkish get up. I want to do a pistol squat. That's my next goal. And so I need to remind myself of that the stars align when they align. All you can do is set yourself up so you're ready when that happens.
Absolutely. And you were saying even the other day, like, you hadn't done pull-ups in, I don't know, maybe it was like a couple of weeks or I don't remember how long you said it was. You're like, I hopped back up there and was like riding a bicycle. Like, I was back up there. Like, it's like, once you get it, like, you have it. Like, you're good. You got it. And that's why you said, like, I love that you having these new goals where you're like, I want to do this Turkish get up. I want to do this pistol squat. And I feel like it opened you up to so much. Because when you first came in to start doing training with me and doing the pull-up and stuff like that, I feel like you just, I don't know, when I saw you, I'm like, I just saw so much potential, and I'm not sure if you really sure if you really understood like what you had in you. And I can really like look at everything that you're doing now and be like, you really transformed. Like, you are an athlete. Like, you truly are an athlete. Like, running, pull-ups, all the stuff like that. I really just feel like I've seen such a change from the beginning of the first time I met you and what you were doing to now all these amazing things that you're doing and how much stronger you've become, like all around.
Thanks, Angela. I appreciate all of that. And it is, like I said, I have all these photos. So sometimes when I get, an Apple created, like, here's a photo album from 2017, I'm like, I was fit, and I've always loved fitness and exercising, but like, I was a runner and I did some strength training here and there, but I was like, and I knew it was good for me and firmly believed in it and write about it and edit stories about it. But for me, it was always running that made me feel my best. So that's what I did, like 80 or more % of the time. Yeah. And what's been so magical for me over the last, I guess, about 3-ish years or 4, even during my time at Women's Health, is this shift in me where now I can get that mental and emotional clarity, high confidence, exhilaration from doing kettlebells or from doing my pull-up drills. And I think that's been so good for my body, just healthy, balancing me out. I still run, of course, but it's not it's not like it used to be. So I just feel like, yes, like a more well-rounded human in many aspects.
I definitely see that in so many ways. I've had so many people actually, I've been telling people when they're training for the marathon, you still need to make sure you're not just running and that you are doing stuff. I mean, pull-ups actually can help you with your running because it's helping with your upper body and your posture and like so many different things. So there's, you know, if you are like a runner, like also make sure, like you said, that you're balanced and that you're doing a little bit of everything. Sorry, I'm like literally about to have a cough right now.
No,
Anyways.
have the water. It's so true. And I used to run marathons, and it's funny, the two fastest marathons I ever ran, not a surprise, but I had been training with a coach virtually. This is back in the day when I lived in Chicago, who uploaded my training plans and was really careful to respond to how I was feeling. Again, I know, you know, coaching is an investment, but I cannot say enough awesome things about it. To have a really smart person who is objectively looking at your progress and your response. But I was going to say, I hired the coach because I was training for my first triathlon, speaking of goals. And I set a goal first to just do a triathlon, then to do a half Ironman. And then that half Ironman was in Wisconsin, like mid to second half of September. And I turned the corner and ran the New York City Marathon the first weekend in November. So gosh, like 6 or 7 weeks later. And it was my fastest one. And it was the one where I ran the least amount to train for it. Actually, it wasn't my fastest one. The next one was, but we continued we were strength training. I was doing a lot of swimming. I was on the bike a lot. It was a very holistic approach, and that made me faster.
Wow, that's incredible. Well, thank you so much for being on here, Liz, and sharing your story with us. Is there anywhere that people can reach out to you and find you? And also make sure that you grab her Own Your Morning book. I love it.
Thank you. Yes, please read Own Your Morning. I love it when people hashtag Own Your Morning on their Instagram. I love seeing how people celebrate their morning wins and love sharing them. You can find me on Instagram, which is my favorite place to share my stuff, at Liz Plosser, LizPlosser. Please also follow Women's Health Mag. You'll see Angela leading our Instagram live workouts every week. And you can also find all of our women's health content at womenshealthmag.com or on newsstands or on Apple News Plus.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Liz. I'm so excited that we did this.